Coming from the true space, we ain't entertaining neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit, now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the true space, yeah bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space, yeah bitch, welcome to the true space.
Today we're going to be speaking about the opposition energy, which are created through when two houses or two signs oppose each other, and opposition tends to create the most stress when it comes to medical astrology. When two houses or two signs oppose each other, this creates an axis which indicate certain health problems. And right now we're gonna be studying and trying to learn about the renal axis, which is created through the 7th house Libra relationship with Aries, the 1st house. So let's get started. Aries, the 1st house, is hot and dry caloric sign that is ruled by the brain and nervous system. It's dominated in the yellow bile. So back then in the ancient world, like medieval time, Europe and whatnot, they would divide people, fire signs, air signs, water signs, earth signs, into 4 different types of people. They call them caloric, sanguine, melancholic, and phlegmatic, and they associate each person with a dominant humor within his body. And their goal back then was to maintain your health or learn or maintain your health, your state of being, by maintaining those 4 humors within your body. And those 4 humors represent different aspects of your body. Your yellow bile represents bilirubin, and bilirubin is the substance or the leftover after your body breaks down iron, which is found in hemoglobin in your blood. They associated that with fire signs, and they associate the red bile with air signs. They associated melancholic, which is the black bile, dealing with structure and consumption of food, ATP, with earth signs, and they associated water signs with the white bile within our body, mucus, the mucus in your digestive system, which you also found in your respiratory, the white lymph substance that's found around your brain that allows sounds to get transferred easily, and things of that nature. So Aries is a hot and dry, and it's caloric sign because it's the fire sign that rules the brain and nervous system. Is dominant in the yellow bile. Why? Because fire signs, they found out that fire signs, they have a higher metabolism. Their digestion is much more quicker. They burn through physical reality, both physically and mentally, because they overexert themselves when it comes to their imagination, their passions, and their illusion. So it plays out as them having more yellow bile in their body. And what is yellow bile? Is bilirubin, the substance that is left over after your body breaks down iron and hemoglobin in your blood flow, because they're burning energy constantly. Next we have the 7th house Libra, which is hot and sanguine. That's what they called air signs back then. They call them sanguine sign, and that is the Libra, the 7th house, rules the kidney, the excretory system, and is dominated in the red bile. What's their secondary quality? Hot, busy, wet. The hotness makes Aries pronounced inflammation, and the wetness makes Libra deal with the need to retain fluid balance, balance out electrolyte, and also deal with blood pressure. Now, for us to understand the renal axis on a deeper level, we have to analyze each house, each sign, and understand the element, understand the modality, is it cardinal, fixed, or mutable, understand the house meaning, and understand the aspect that is created through the house relationship with other houses. So first we're gonna start with Aries, the 1st house, which deals with the brain and nervous system. On Aries, the 1st house side, they deal with inflammation such as headache problems, fever, neurological issues, acne, because it's the head region, and all the hot dry energy tend to dry up the face and the skin, head scars because they keep bumping their head, eye troubles, and an overactive sympathetic nervous system, which is known as the fight or flight mode. It's a big problem when it comes to Aries energy because the sun is exalted there. A lot of Aries, they tend to be on the warrior side, and if the person is an unconscious Aries or a person who utilize Aries energies unconsciously, this person is going to end up having an overactive sympathetic nervous system. He's going to be always stuck on the fight or flight mode, and that is bad because because that's gonna cause the adrenal gland to experience exhaustion, which will result in stress hormones to be released, like cortisol, adrenaline, and things of that nature. Venus is debilitated in Aries, the first house. So what this tells us, it tells us if you go too far when it comes to your Aries energy, first house energies, you're gonna experience Venus debilitation. You're gonna experience a hormonal problem. Why? Because when you're always on the fighting mode, expressing mode, masculine side mode, you're going to cause a nervous exhaustion. Your hormones gonna go out of whack. We can't be always masculine. We gotta learn how to be masculine and feminine. Learn how to push and learn how to receive to maintain a better health. And I also like to say hormones have a wet quality, so Aries being a hot and dry sign tend to dry up hormones and things of that nature. Furthermore, Saturn falls in Aries. This represents the bones which provide calcium that is essential for the proper function of the nervous system. That is important because Aries and people who utilize a lot of Aries energy, first house energies, they kind of overdo stuff due to that warrior mentality. And that warrior mentality because Aries are ruled by the brain and nervous system, which need calcium. What's gonna happen is your Aries energy, your first house, is gonna start pulling at your bones and your skeleton system, your 10th house, because you gotta realize that all these constellations exist within you and they all trying to work together. It's because you're a walking solar system, you're a walking constellation. When you overutilize Aries energy, you're gonna start pulling the minerals out of your bones, and this is one of the functions of your bones. The 10th house is to store minerals, but since Saturn falls there, Aries could overwork themselves and utilize the mineral that is found in your bone, which causes Saturn to fall. And if Saturn represents structure, strength, that means Aries energy could make you experience losing structure within your brain and nervous system, which could make you experience things like dementia as you get older and other form of brain and nervous system disease related problem. Mars falls in Cancer. Mars is 90 degrees away from its home. Aries, the first house, the brain and nervous system. This represents a planetary position which corresponds to losing energy, which biologically play out as the beginning of decline of Cancer, the 4th house, the lymphatic and immune system, which is important to get rid of waste and excessive fluid, because they found out recently there's actually lymph or white bile that exists within your brain, and actually it's the white substance that allows sound to transfer throughout your brain. But also that substance, which is known as the white bile, allow you to pull all the waste out of the brain and nervous system to keep it clear and prevent toxins buildup. But since Mars fall in Cancer, the nervous system is losing energies when it comes to deal with the lymphatic and immune system. So people who utilize a lot of Aries energies, first house energies, what's gonna happen is that they're not gonna lose the ability, but they're gonna weaken their lymphatic and immune system. Since Cancer, it deals with the white bile, which make it cold and wet, and Aries is hot and dry. So, and Mars is a hot and dry planet, which is gonna dry up the lymphatic and immune system. So the energetic relationship create the biological relationship also. Very important. Next, on Libra side, the 7th house, there's an underlying adrenal and nervous system weakness or exhaustion. Right now, I'm not saying Libras have a weak energy or a weak nervous system. They just kind of tends to be they're not on the aggressive side of their they're not on the aggressive side of their nervous system. They're more on the feminine side of their nervous system, as opposed to Aries. Even though both of them are cardinal signs, Libras, they're not on the overactive side of their nervous system like Aries. So they could still overexert their nervous system because of the cardinal quality. So there's an underlying adrenal and nervous system weakness. Why? Because Mars is debilitated in Libra. Mars 180 degrees away from its home. Aries, the first house, the brain and nervous system. And this represents a planetary position which correspond to Libra, the 7th house, the excretory system, the kidneys, losing energies of neurons. Mars making Libra, the 7th house, weak in the function of getting rid of waste and fluids within the kidneys, aka getting rid of toxins within your body. And you gotta consider why Mars is debilitating in Libra though, the 7th house, because Mars is a hot and dry planet. So if Mars is in Libra, it's gonna cause all the fluid to dry up, and we know it's very important your kidneys to maintain a certain amount of fluid within your body so you don't get dehydrated. If you add the cardinal aspect, but also this, since Libra is hot and wet and Mars is hot and dry, the dryness of Mars will make Libra dry up. This is why I said that earlier. If you add the cardinal aspect, which results in nervous exhaustion, that will weaken the kidney also, making one vulnerable to things like urinary tract infection, nephritis, inflammation, and irritation. Also, Saturn is exalted in Libra, meaning the possibility of experiencing arthritis. Sign the skeleton system relies on the urinary system to remove waste produced by the bones and cells. So the 10th house, the skeleton system, Capricorn, relies on the 7th house, Libra, to get rid of waste buildup on the bone, which is why the Saturn is exalted in the 7th house. Saturn is a cold and dry planet, so it deals with the black bile. The black bile is what build up our bones, and what build up our gives us energy, since it represents ATP. But if you allow too much black bile to build up within your body, you can experience the negative side of Saturn, which is rigidity, structure, not structure, but constriction and lack of flexibility. Also, furthermore, Venus in Libra. Venus is a home in Libra, the 7th house, which correspond to biologically as having strength and ability to get rid of waste and balancing fluid like the blood and the hormones. Furthermore, the endocrine system is a major control of the excretory system, because Venus is the feminine side of Taurus, and that it deals also with the masculine side of Venus deals with the feminine side of Taurus, the 2nd house, which is your endocrine system, the hormonal, but it also rules Libra, the 7th house, your excretory system, your kidneys. But how does Venus work with houses? Because Venus represents your hormones, and this means if you drink too much water, the hormones from the 2nd house of Taurus, the endocrine system is going to release to go down here to allow less urine will be produced. The kidneys are also tied up to the endocrine system with the adrenal gland position on top of the kidneys, because Aries, the 1st house, is 180 degree opposing Libra. So you could see how in geometry it also play out in biology, but also by knowing that Venus rules both Taurus and Libra, we get to see how the hormones control the urination process. But also there's a problem when it comes to red bile filtration, possibly, which can lead to heart problem and blood pressure problem. Why? Because in Libra, the sun falling from its home, which is Leo, the 5th house. The sun falling represents the beginning of decline, because when something falls, it's losing energy, it's losing connection. It's, if you kind of understand what I'm saying, when the heart is no longer pumping efficiently because it's losing energy, because further away from its home, it becomes congested with blood. The kidneys also suffer from a reduced supply of oxygen. So right now we're gonna read some people medical astrology chart to see what type of health problem they developed, and also to see a real life example of the renal axis. So right now here we have Tiana Roberts, who died from a urinary tract infection. What is a urinary tract infection? A urinary tract infection are caused by microorganisms, things that exist in the external world that usually travel within your body, your internal world. So health is about maintaining the balance between the internal world versus the external world. If you allow things in the external world to overthrow your internal world, you're gonna develop diseases. This is why your internal world gotta be stronger than the external world. That is some real subconscious information, if you understand what I'm talking about. So right now let's look at her natal chart. What we could see right now, first of all, she got a lot of planets right here in Libra. So she got Mars in Libra, she got Mercury in Libra, she got the moon in Libra, she got the sun in Libra, but she also got the Neptune in Libra. So that's almost like a stellium. So this tells us immediately off the bat, she's dealing with a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in her kidneys and her excretory system, and her ability to get rid of waste and balance fluid and deal with and deal with blood pressure. Mars being debilitated in Libra because it's 180 degree away from its home, it's telling us Mars, the nervous system, it's losing energies. So the hot and dry quality of Mars can't help her to maintain a fluid balance, because she's gonna end up retaining more fluids as opposed to burning them with Mars energy. She also has Mercury, which represent the oxygen, your lungs and bowels, which transfer the oxygen and nutrients from the bowels, because Mercury rules both Gemini, the respiratory system, where you get oxygen, but also rules Virgo, where you break down food to get your nutrients. So Mercury here is telling us this is where her oxygen and her nutrients are focused on. Her moon, which is the lymphatic and immune system, is also focused on her kidney. The moon has a cold and wet quality, but Libra, the kidneys, the 7th house, has a hot and dry quality. So obviously the moon is gonna have difficulties getting rid of waste when it comes to the kidneys. The sun is also there. The sun is losing energy, like as we were speaking about earlier. It's 90 degree away from its home. So we could really say that her nervous system is losing function to deal with her kidney. Her sun, her blood flow is getting weaker. So the stuff is gonna get congested. Is she going to have a hard time getting rid of waste and deal with her blood circulation? But also Neptune being here, which Neptune deals biologically with the surfaces of organs and tissue. But since Neptune is a further away planet, it deals with things that blur out the line of reality and illusion. So that will play out as she later on realizing or seeing the effect of her habits or her dietary habits showing up later on her kidneys, since Neptune takes a longer time to appear. What else do we notice here? We notice that she has Saturn in Scorpio. Since Scorpio deals with the reproductive organs, but they also deal with elimination. They deal with the principles of removing toxins, detoxing, and things of that nature. And Saturn has a positive side and has a negative side. The negative side of Saturn is rigidity, constriction, and lack of flexibility, because Saturn is harsh. But also on the positive side, Saturn provides structure, stability, and bone strength. So it could have played out the negative way or the positive way. But since she died of a urinary tract infection, this tells me that her Saturn most likely played out the negative way. She experienced rigidity, lack of constriction, lack of flexibility, and her reproductive organs and her ability to get rid of waste. So she's most likely was holding on to waste, bacteria, and toxins. And if we know Scorpio, the 12th house rules the colon, since it has a sextile relationship with the 6th house of Virgo, the digestive system, that means all the toxins that you can't get rid of, they're gonna start to build up as a plaque around the walls of the colon. And this is most likely one of the reasons she experienced a urinary tract infection, because it deals with bacteria entering your body. But there's multiple ways bacteria could enter your body. It could enter through your urethra, through your bladder, it could enter through your blood flow, and things like that. She having Saturn there is telling us she experienced rigidity and constriction in her ability to eliminate waste, which most likely allowed the bacteria to stay longer within her body to develop to a bigger problem. But also what we notice here is that she has Uranus in Leo, Jupiter in Leo, and Pluto in Leo. So what does this tell us? It tells us first of all, Uranus is 180 degree away from its home in Aquarius. So this tells us Uranus is gonna play out the negative side of energy when it comes to her heart and her circulatory system, which is what Leo represents. Uranus could play out a positive way or a negative way, but she's going to experience the negative side. The negative side is lack of circulation, a lack of electrical flow, and stress. But on the positive side plays out as better electrical flow and better energetic flow. So she's going to experience the negative side of Uranus, lack of electrical flow and stress, and her heart and circulatory system. So she definitely have a heart problem or a circulation problem when it comes to her heart and circulatory system. But Pluto there is telling us she's experiencing transformation in her heart and circulatory system. But Pluto is a slow moving planet, so it takes time for things to happen there. And she has Pluto there, Pluto could play out a positively expansion, tissue alkalinity, as in when you work out you could expand your tissues, and that's a healthy form of expansion. But on the negative side, it plays out as inflammation, swelling, fluid buildup, inflammation like things. So she could experience the negative side of Jupiter in her heart and circulatory system, which is gonna cause her to have inflammation within the heart and her blood. And what did we read earlier? The urinary tract infection could cause an inflammation and infection. So she's very prone to that problem. It's easy for her to experience inflammation in her blood because Pluto's there. And not only that, but Pluto being so close to Jupiter, this is a conjunction, so this is an extra power that could play out negatively within her body. So right now here in this part, we have John Adams, who was the second president of the United States. If we look at his renal axis right here, we have the moon. He has the moon in Aries, and he has Mars, Pluto in Libra. So the moon in Aries, the moon has a cold and wet quality, and we know Aries, they have a hot and dry quality. So the hotness and dryness of Aries, they're gonna dry up the lymphatic system, the white bile. This is why we say don't go too far in your Aries energy, or you're gonna develop a bad lymphatic and immune system health. So this tells us, first of all, the moon is losing energy, so he has a weaker ability to get rid of waste and get rid of the excessive fluid within his brain and nervous system, which could allow toxins, waste to build up in his brain and nervous system. But on the other side, he has Mars, which is 180 degrees away from its home in Aries, the first house. So he's losing energy when it comes to his neurons, the nervous system, when it comes to using his kidneys, his excretory system, because the kidneys, like we said earlier, it has a hot and wet quality to it. Mars being there can make it to start to dry up, to balance its fluid. And he has Pluto there, so he's experienced transformation in his excretory system and his kidneys too. And the 180 degree is telling us the lymphatic system, the moon, has difficulty working with his nervous system, because you have to think about it from a psychological perspective. His reaction is completely different than the way he takes action. When he takes action, he likes to balance out things on other people, problems. Like a Libra, they like to balance other people, marriages, issues, and they have those very friendly energies of being known as the scale of justice. And Aries being the warrior, being the aggressive type of person, they deal with their own passion. So that's the type of psychology kind of John Adams dealt with, which played out biologically as him having a weaker lymphatic and immune system, because his moon is in Aries, the first house, and he has Mars in Libra, the seventh house. But also what's interesting here, what else did he have? He also had Jupiter in Capricorn, which Jupiter deals with expansion. So he's gonna experience some sort of expansion when it comes to his skeleton system and things of that nature. But we're speaking only about the renal axis today, and we could even see it in his real life. He experienced arthritis himself, or rheumatitis, which afflicted Adams late in his life and things of that nature. But also when we look at the cause of death, it was recorded as him being at the age of 90 and dying to a heart related problem. And right now I'm not attempting to predict his death, but we're trying to understand how his health problems developed, which makes a lot of sense, since Libra, the seventh house, sextile Leo, the fifth house. So this tells us there's a direct relationship between Leo, the fifth house, the heart and the circulatory system, and Libra, the seventh house, the kidneys and the excretory system. And if you study, you would notice that people with heart problems, blood pressure problems, it's synonymous with kidneys problems, and kidney problem is synonymous with heart problem. So thank you for listening, and if you would like to get your medical astrology chart done, or if you want to order any form of natal chart that we are providing on our website, please check out our website at TrueSpace in the description below.